Welcome to the Sensory Motor Classroom, a place where occupational therapists and teachers collaborate to share knowledge, experience, and activities that address sensory and motor ideas for the classroom. I'm delighted today to have Jennifer Spoka with us, who's going to be sharing some ideas on early years activities for the classroom and also for online learning. And Jennifer's been an occupational therapist for 35 years, so she's got a thing or two to share with us. And Jennifer, we first connected because of your YouTube channel.
Yes.
And in your YouTube channel, you kind of go through a variety, a myriad of so many different activities. And so it'd be really great, perhaps just to start off, if you could just share some of the reasons why you started the YouTube channel and kind of what you cover in that channel.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was actually in Oregon when this COVID hit, visiting my son, and wasn't really aware of how in depth it was or how long this was going to go on. But all I knew is that I wasn't going to be able to see my kids or my families. I have several jobs, but my one job is working with 0 to 3 population in their homes. So I was kind of concerned about them. And my niece had this great idea, thought I could reach them more easily rather than, individually, just make one video. So I started making videos geared towards them and got so much feedback from so many other people because parents weren't used to being home with their kids, right? I mean, they're at school and now these kids are not able to go out and bouncing off the walls and they needed some ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kept rolling. And it's super fun. And it's incredible to think how many families have watched these videos and it's helped them. And I get great feedback and it feels good. So I feel like, I'm helping in my small way during this crazy time.
Nice. And I certainly know not only parents access that, I know myself as an occupational therapist will click online and see what activities you post, as I'm sure other OTs and other professionals such as teachers also kind of check it out.
Yeah. I mean, I started it for parents, but then realized, and after you've been an OT for a while, after working so long, you think that this knowledge is secondhand, but it's not. I mean, you've been doing this job for so many years that it's secondhand to me, but it's not, especially to new moms or, parents that have a child with a special need and they didn't have that before. So it's been eye-opening.
So you just kind of talked about, obviously, things being secondhand after working for so many years. Can you just share with us a little bit about kind of your previous work and what led you to this place?
Yeah, so I've always known that I wanted to work with the kids, and OT, I just kind of happened upon it. I mean, that many years ago, I didn't even know what it was. But once I found out, I went to observe and realized that, yep, I am definitely an OT, and I always knew I wanted kids, so I just went that route right from the beginning.
Okay.
So I went to school in an inner city, and then I worked in an inner city hospital and did the gamut of, neonatal intensive care, pediatric intensive care, inpatient, outpatient, and then branched out to schools and private practice and home care and everything else. So now I have 3 different jobs, all kind of part-time jobs, and I think it just keeps me busy so I don't get bored. But the one is going into the homes for the 0 to 3 babies, and the other one is a clinic, an outpatient clinic, and the other one is a state school for deaf kids.
Okay.
But I'm still virtual. I'm not doing the clinic right now, but everything else is 100% virtual where we are. So, and it's getting worse instead of better, unfortunately.
Okay. So how has that been for you switching to the virtual and being able to provide all your activities when I'm assuming you were so hands-on before, to then be in this virtual world? How's that been for you?
It's very different. So our model that we do is coaching anyway.
Okay.
But when I get into the home, it's very hard to coach because I just kind of grab that baby and just do my thing. And I feel like I'm more modeling than coaching. But now it is true coaching. Put your hands here and, put the toy there and lots and lots and lots of teaching. And it's difficult and it's rewarding. I mean, some of the kids are making great changes, but I call it my bossy Zoom self, because when I'm watching the kids, I'm already like anticipating. So instead of like asking, I just kind of say, oh, move that toy over there. So I have to like step back a bit and and slow my pace down so that my parents can catch up. So that's been a little bit of a challenge.
Okay. And as you know, in the sensory motor classroom, we have a lot of teachers that are part of this community, as well as some parents and some occupational therapists and some speech therapists and behavioral therapists. Coming from that OT side, for that OT brain perspective, what are some of the activities you found yourself using a lot, but either in online, virtual, in recent times, or just generally some of those kind of motor activities you found yourself using a lot, just as part of your interventions?
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things, and we weren't really encouraged to bring toys into the home anyway, but I think it's important for these families to know that they don't have to go buy fancy toys, that so many things in their house right this moment are fun and are toys and can be turned into a game or therapy, so that, you know, you don't have to, a lot of it is just really being with them. So one of my videos that was my most successful video was little yoga poses, like a table in a tunnel.
Okay.
We called it, like a downward dog and a crab walk. And we put toys under them or over them, so that they can hold the position longer, and just turned it into a game. And that got tons of reviews. And so what I do is I send the video to the families and ask them to look at it. With this work, can we tweak it? And then do that in the Zoom session to tweak it. So that's why I'm trying to update it so that I can constantly have new ideas for them.
Sure. And I could totally see how that could be something in the classroom too, where if kind of teachers were doing a short movement break and like a downward dog, and maybe having something underneath that activity where they're looking down at that toy, or they're doing a crab and having something on them, that could be absolutely adaptable for the classroom.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And very little to no resources needed other than yourself. Yeah.
And really, I mean, you could put a pillow on them, or you could put a t-shirt or a sock. You know, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be anything. I think I used stuffed animals in the video.
Okay.
So like, it's nothing fancy.
And then what are some of your other successful activities you found kind of in this recent time, whether maybe it's like a fine motor activity or a gross motor activity? Was some of the other kind of ones that stick out for you?
The paper chains is one that sticks out for me. It was just the simple activity of making paper chains.
Okay.
And I've used it like for the cutting skill, for the tearing skill, for the taping, for the motor planning piece of it. I've used it to sequence colors. I've used it to write days of the week on there so that they knew when I was going to see them next. You know, they would take away a chain each day and I would show up.
Okay.
Yeah, I have some videos where I break down like shoe tying, and I break down jumping jacks, and I break down skipping, that have been really successful for the kids. And then I have some sensory activities in there as well, like homemade Play-Doh.
Okay.
Trying to think of what else is in there. The tissue paper, the toilet paper, the Monster Mash. It's really called Clean Mud.
Clean Mud.
But we just changed the name depending on the event.
And that's toilet paper and soap.
And water.
Water? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. And food coloring if you want to, but you don't have to. In the winter, we just called it snow. So it was like indoor snow.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Yeah, there's lots of ideas on there, and there's lots of ways to make it. There's another one of like an I Spy game with a water bottle and rice and household items put in there. So for the little ones, it's just identifying the items. And for the older ones, I've had them like write a sentence about it or play 20 questions with me so that they can describe it to get some more language going on.
Okay. So it's like a sensory bottle, and inside there's lots
It's
of
just
different
rice and like an I Spy bottle.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I imagine all those more sensory, whether it's visual, hands-on activities are really necessary right now when still we're in this time of uncertainty. And there must be quite, well, I know that we had a period here in the Cayman Islands where things were quite, nobody knew what was going on. There was quite high anxiety.
Right.
And I imagine that that's still prevalent still although perhaps getting better, and we have perhaps more clarity as things move on, but it's still kind of can be an anxious time for teachers, for families, and of
Yeah,
course.
we've actually gone backwards where we had a hybrid of schooling going here, and now it's like all the high schools are shutting down and the colleges because that's where they're finding the biggest spread. But it's the restaurants are back to shutting down. So it's kind of going backwards
Oh, okay.
here. Yeah, I do have another one on there where it's like a burrito roll to help calm kids, wrapping them
Okay.
up in a blanket or something. A towel is what I used in the video.
Okay, so lots of nice deep pressure kind of
Yeah.
proprioceptive input into their muscles and joints. Nice.
Yeah.
And we know that that kind of deep pressure input's so helpful for that calming sensation, hey?
Proprioceptive is always my go-to to like excite them and my go-to to calm them down. It's fun, right? Those are my kids,
Yes.
my jumpy kids anyway, right? Those are my kids that are super fun.
Yeah, who doesn't like being rolled up in a burrito? I mean, come on,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah, right. And then when you roll them back out, they're just like spinning. Let's do it again
Oh, nice.
before they even get out. So
Yeah.
it's a great job, right? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess with all your experience as an occupational therapist and all the ideas you put on YouTube and all the ideas you share with the families you work with, what would you say for teachers in the classroom as maybe your top tip to kind of express what you feel perhaps is the most important piece that has like carried you through as an occupational therapist?
and so I think teachers and OTs are pretty much similar in our thinking, in that teaching happens all the time, right? For me, like a preschool day is all OT. From the minute these kids wake up in the morning, from brushing their teeth and combing their hair and going to the bathroom and getting dressed and eating and playing, it is all OT. But it's also all teachers and teaching. And, we're counting or singing our ABCs when we're brushing our teeth, or we're counting our, how many cereal pieces we have or how many bites we took. We're doing color identification. So I think we don't need to be so structured that,
Okay.
and just know that learning is happening because they are watching us and modeling. And my granddaughter, who's in my videos with me,
Yes.
she is in kindergarten this year, and it's a hybrid, but now she's home.
Okay.
But for the first, I don't know, 3 weeks, she came home and played teacher every day.
Oh,
So
wow.
they're watching. They are,
Yeah.
totally paying attention, and nothing slips by them. And it's kind of fun to watch her talk like her teacher and read the books. And teachers have a super important job. I could not do their job. So kudos to them.
So it really feels like you're kind of expressing how much OT is really integrated to every single thing that's happening in that kind of preschool environment, that it's just happening naturally and allowing the kids to be able to explore and do all those activities that they are naturally inclined to seek
and
out.
for those younger aides in the classrooms that I work in, we rarely do worksheet kinds of things. It's all like centers and playing and learning through play.
Okay.
Which is kind of where what I believe happens. I think that kids learn naturally. You don't need to hold a pencil or a crayon to get that grasp. You get it in a lot of different ways when you play with Legos or zoom a car across the floor.
Yeah. And talking about play to learn, that's your YouTube channel. The name of your
That's the
YouTube
channel. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the other
OT
name?
with Jen.
Okay, OT with Jen.
OT with Jen Spoka. They're like, it's a combined title because play to learn was what my passion was. That's what I think happens in natural life.
So play to learn, OT with Jen Spoka.
Yep.
So if people want to check out more videos, that's what they would just need to type in.
Yep. Just type in OT with Jen Spoka and you will find it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds wonderful. Well, Jen, thank you so much for tonight. It's been really, really great chatting with you to kind of explore your views and share some of your ideas from all your experience. So thank you very much. And to everybody who's listening, thank you for listening to the Sensory Motor Classroom interview series, and we look forward to seeing you and meeting you again. Bye for now.